Hello everyone, I'm Titanic Spider, and in this video I will be going over the Treaty 40-minute boom for France. On screen you'll see a basic France deck used for natives. I will link other possible decks for natives as well as out of natives in the description, where you will also see a link to my Twitch if you want to join in on the action. Unlike other civs, you're going to want to build your marketplace first and get hunting dogs before you get the house built. So you're going to have all your villagers gather the starting crates, and one villager is going to build a marketplace, and you're going to split your villagers between wooden coin in order to get hunting dogs, and then you're going to build the house after you have hunting dogs built, researched. Once you have the resources needed for hunting dogs, you can switch off of gold, but continue to gather wood because you're going to need to build a house, as well as you're going to get placer mines and the gang saw in age 1.
Chasseur, bûcheron. Bonjour. Correct. Maçon. Bûcheron.
Get the house built and send all new villagers to food, and then once you can, get the market upgrade for placer mines, as well as getting the wood upgrade. Gonna go with the typical natives decks, and you're gonna start with the economic theory card. Any other new shipments you get, you're gonna hold on to until age 3.
Oui. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Très correct. Oui. Correct. Je le fais. Chasseur. Oui. Correct. Très bien. Oui.
Once you have placer mines going, you can take your villagers off of wood and switch them over to food. You're going to want to do a 15 villager age up, so make sure you continue to send your villagers to food until you have the placer mine upgrade, and then you can start switching some villagers over to gold. Now that placer mines is done, I'm going to start sending all of my new villagers over to gold. I should have more than enough villagers on food in order to get age 2. Again, save all shipments that you get for age 3.
Bonjour, je le ferai. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Ramasseur. Prêt? Oui. Correct. Très bien. Oui.
You're going to go into age 2 using Quartermaster for the 400 wood that you're going to be using for town centers in age 3. Now that you have age 2 queued up, you can go ahead and split your villagers as needed to go to age 3 as smoothly as possible between food and gold.
Chasseur. Chasseur. Prêt. Votre ordre? Oui. Correct.
Place un roi.
Prêt. Votre ordre? Oui. Oui. Correct. Oui.
With age 2 queued up, we're going to be going into age 3 using fast age up, so if your explorer's out gathering treasures or exploring, you're going to want to start bringing them back to the base.
Correct. Correct.
With a 15 villager age up, you should be able to have a smooth transition from age 2 straight into age 3.
Oui. Correct. Prêt. Ramasseur. Votre ordre? Oui. Ramasseur. Votre ordre? Oui. Chasseur. Prêt. Très bien. Correct. Votre ramasseur. Votre prêt. Prêt. Oui. Prêt. Oui. Prêt. Chasseur. Chasseur.
As soon as you have the resources needed to go into age 3, make sure you switch all your villagers off of gold and switch them directly over to the trees, because you're going to need to get a total of 1,000 wood in order to make both town centers. Queue up fast age up, gather the wood that's on the floor, make sure you have your explorer in position to be prepared to build a town center near the best location for resources. Make sure you have a villager queued up in the town center because age up fast is going to be pretty quick.
Bonjour. Très bien. Je le ferai. Oui. Bûcheron. Bonjour.
Also, make sure you have enough villagers on food to ensure that you can continue production of villagers once you hit age 3.
Prêt. Correct. Très bien.
Get the first town center put down as quickly as possible. Send both shipments for refrigeration and royal mint.
Oui. Très bien. Chasseur. Bonjour. Prêt. Votre ordre? Correct. Oui. Correct. Oui. Très bien. Correct. Maçon. Votre prêt. Très bien. Oui.
At this point, even though we have all the wood needed for all the town centers, you're still going to want to leave some villagers gathering wood because you're going to want to get the market upgrades in age 2.
Oui. Votre ordre? Prêt. Oui. Correct. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Chasseur. Oui. Très correct. Chasseur. Chasseur. Prêt. Votre prêt. Prêt. Oui, je le ferai. Correct. Très bien. Chasseur. Votre ordre. Correct. Très bien. Chasseur. Bonjour. Oui, maçon. Bûcheron. Chasseur. Bonjour. Prêt. Maçon. Chasseur.
You're going to hold all your other shipments until age 4 for your factories.
Oui.
At this point, all you have to do is make sure you don't house cap yourself and continue a nice steady production of villagers in order to get into age 4.
Bonjour, je le ferai. Chasseur.
Make sure you get both the steel traps as well as amalgamation in the marketplace in this age. You're going to want to prioritize more food than gold going into age 4 with France because it does cost more food to make the villagers.
Votre ordre? Chasseur. Chasseur. Bonjour. Oui, chasseur. Prêt. Chasseur. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Chasseur. Oui, chasseur. Bonjour. Correct. Je le ferai. Très bien, je le ferai. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Chasseur. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Oui. Prêt. Oui. Prêt. Oui. Maçon. Bûcheron. Prêt. Oui. Bonjour. Prêt. Chasseur. Oui. Correct. Chasseur.
You're going to want to go into age up with a tycoon of 1,000 gold. At this point, you're going to want to switch your villagers as needed for age 5. Keep in mind that you will be getting that 1,000 gold to help with gold going into age 5.
Bonjour. Bûcheron. Très bien. Maçon. Bûcheron. Prêt. Votre ordre? Oui. Correct. Chasseur. Prêt. Oui. Je l'aurai. Oui. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Très bien. Oui. Très bien. Je le ferai. Chasseur. Oui. Chasseur. Bûcheron. Prêt. Bûcheron. Bûcheron. Correct. Oui. Chasseur. Bonjour. Votre aide? Oui. Chasseur. Ramasseur. Bonjour. Chasseur. Votre ordre? Oui. Oui. Chasseur. Prêt. Votre ordre? Bonjour. Chasseur. Oui. Votre ordre? Je le maçon. Oui. Bonjour. Maçon. Chasseur. Oui. Oui. Je le ferai. Chasseur. Bonjour, chasseur, ramasseur. Ramasseur.
As soon as you age up, get both your factories going and make sure you gather the gold that just came out from the age up.
Correct.
At this point, you're still just macroing to go into the next age up between food and gold. When the factories come out, you're going to prioritize putting those on the food or gold, whatever is required most in order to get into age 5 as smoothly as possible.
Prêt. Correct. Oui. Prêt, je le ferai. Chasseur. Prêt. Correct, je le ferai. Oui. Bon, très bien. Oui. Maçon. Bûcheron. Votre ordre? Oui. Je le ferai. Chasseur. Chasseur. Ramasseur.
Next, you're going to go ahead and send sustainable agriculture.
Ramasseur. Ramasseur. Votre ordre? Oui, correct, oui.
Gonna age up with 2,000 gold. Make sure you get at least 80 population space because France can have a total of 80 villagers. Make sure you get both market upgrades for wood because you're going to be spending most of your villagers over to wood to start building your mills.
Oui, bûcheron.
I like to switch my factories over to food to ensure that I can continue producing villagers as well as get the upgrades up from the marketplace.
Oui. Bonjour, chasseur. Ramasseur. Bûcheron. Bonjour, chasseur. Oui, bûcheron.
Now that you're age 5, make sure you go ahead and gather the gold crates that come out and build a capital as soon as possible. You're gonna, since France does a fair trade from food to gold, you want to do your best to not spend any of your resources on food. This way you can gather as much food as possible. So you're gonna continue chopping wood and you're gonna build a bunch of mills and switch your villagers over to mills. Since you're not gonna need the gold upgrades, you're gonna go ahead and grab military upgrades that will benefit you for the fight. Make sure you upgrade food as well as wood chopping in the capital.
Bonjour, très bien. Oui. Maçon. Maçon. Bûcheron.
As soon as you get the mills upgraded, you can start switching some villagers over as well.
Prêt. Bûcheron. Votre ordre? Oui. Bûcheron. Bûcheron. Oui. Bûcheron. Bonjour. Fermier. Prêt. Maçon. Bûcheron. Votre est correct. Maçon. Bûcheron.
Now that you have all the food gathering upgrades, you can start switching villagers off of wood and switching them over to mills. As soon as you have enough villagers on mills, you can switch your factories over to wood once you have the upgrade on the factories for wood, but until then, you want to leave them on food, this way you can continue production of villagers.
Prêt. Votre ordre? Fermier. Bonjour, très correct. Maçon. Prêt, oui. Maçon. Bûcheron. Votre ordre? Je le ferai. Oui.
You're going to want to get about 60 to 70 villagers on mills gathering food. The rest you can leave on wood. You're not going to need to gather any gold whatsoever.
Maçon. Prêt. Maçon. Oui, très bien. Maçon. Bonjour, maçon.
The more you have on food, the bigger your boom score is going to be, but you don't want to compromise how much wood you get because you're going to need to get it over 20,000 wood to get all the upgrades, have all the buildings set up, as well as get all your military out. So make sure you don't send all your villagers to food just to get that extra score.
Maçon. Maçon.
So now at this point there isn't much to do other than to set up our forward base, as well as getting all our walls set up. So you can go ahead and set up however you feel needed, but at this point all your villagers are just going to sit on either food or wood until then. You want to do your best to avoid spending any food at this point. Make sure you get your estates put down, make sure you get your saloon down as well, because the saloon's going to allow you to get at least a little bit of a coin trickle in order to get a couple of your gold upgrades before 40 minutes. This way it's less of a rush after you send the food trade.
Oui, maçon. 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 Fermier. Votre ordre? Oui, très bien. Maçon, 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 bûcheron. Oui, votre ordre? Bon, correct. Oui, je le ferai. Maçon, 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 maçon.
Yeah, and you don't want to be spending any of your food, so make sure if you do get any upgrades, they do not require any food. It's okay to go ahead and spend any wood and gold that you do have, but you're not going to be gathering any gold, so you're not going to be getting too many upgrades. At this point, once we have everything set up, there isn't much more to do until roughly the 6-minute marks. You want to make sure you save at least one shipment for fur trade, because if you don't have it by the time you need to send it, you're going to end up sending really late and you're not going to have the food that you need in order to build new units as they get killed. So you're going to want to make sure you save at least one shipment.
Maçon, 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 maçon. Correct, oui. Votre ordre? Maçon, maçon. Bûcheron. Bonjour, bûcheron. Maçon. Votre ordre? Bûcheron. Oui, bûcheron.
Because I am putting more villagers on food than I am on wood, it will be a bit of a rush at the end because I'm going to be short on the wood required for all of the upgrades, but it shouldn't be too bad because as soon as I send the shipment and it goes through, I'm going to be switching a lot of villagers off of food over to wood. So just make sure that if you do end up to decide and go for as much food as possible, that you do switch villagers at the very last second.
Fermier.
Since I have more villagers on food than I do on wood, I'm going to be short on wood when it comes time to trade, so make sure as soon as your trade goes through, you switch as many villagers as needed off of food onto wood, because you're going to need to upgrade your estates, you're going to need to finish upgrading the marketplace, anything you got on the church, the upgrades inside the capital, any arsenal, as well as all the upgrades for your military and your towers. Since there's nothing more to do other than to sit here and gather as much food as possible, I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up until roughly 6 minutes when we're going to be sending the shipment. You notice during my speed up, I switched the factories over to food to try and push for as much food as possible before sending the shipment. You want to try to send it by about 5 minutes and 40 seconds. If you want to push it a little bit longer, that's fine, but you don't want to push too far because then you won't have the resources in order to maintain military units on the field. I'm going to push it for a little bit further, aiming for about 95,000 food. I might send it around 5 minutes 30 seconds, maybe a bit later, but you want to make sure you don't have any shipments in queue. The later you wait, the more of a rush you're going to have to go, the more of a rush you're going to have trying to get all your upgrades and all your military out. So you don't want to wait too much further past 5 minutes, or 5 minutes and 40 seconds is probably the most safest spot to do it. I'm gonna push it to the 5-minute mark. Maybe we can get up to about 100k. Shouldn't be too difficult. Should have more than enough time to get set up. If you're sending your military over to the native side where you're gonna have to travel further, you might not want to wait that long. But I'm not gonna be doing that since this is just a guide. I'm just gonna go ahead and send it at 5 minutes. As soon as it goes through, you're going to want to switch your factories back to wood. You're going to want to switch villagers off of food onto wood and then start rushing all your upgrades, all your military, and getting prepared for the fight. You're going to want to upgrade skirmishers, halberdiers, the gendarmes, as well as the goons, the horse artillery, the mortars, and the culverines. As soon as it goes through, I'm going to go ahead and switch a bunch of villagers off and begin getting all the upgrades as quickly as possible.
Bonjour. Prêt. Bûcheron. Votre ordre? Bonjour. Fermier. Votre ordre? Fermier.
How you choose to start your start army is personal preference. I usually do either a mix of gendarmes, skirmishers, and artillery, or gendarmes, artillery, and some halberdiers for the start, depending on who you're up against. So I'll get a couple culverines, couple of horse artillery, couple of gendarmes. For this one, I'm going to do mostly halberdiers and gendarmes, just because they're more tanky. They'll last longer, give you more time to set up. As you can see, we got a minute and a half to go, and almost have all our units out, but you can see just how close it gets. Got everything queued up, because now you're also going to need time to get everything in position. But since we don't need to get any of the gold upgrades until later since we did the trade. We can go ahead and can send more upgrades for your military than for your economy. At this point, you have a minute left to try and organize your military, get them set up in the front, however you feel necessary. As you can see, it was quite the rush getting to this point. Which is why you try to send a little earlier. Some people will try to push it till about the 3-minute mark, but then your opponent can just go ahead and delete a bunch of villagers, have more more army than you do, and just push you very hard, and you can't get the eco needed to keep it up.
Je le ferai.
But as you can see, 230k, pretty easily done. It's just a bit of a rush at the last second. And now this is your start army. Hope you enjoyed.